I'm Ian Harford.
And I'm Steve Wild.
And we are back here in the magnificent Alaskan wilderness for our next adventure. Now, you saw last year we came out and we were guided by Revelation Mountain Outfitters.
Who did a fantastic job for us.
We had a pretty successful time. We managed to take 2 grizzly bear, 2 black bear, 2 caribou and a moose. But this time we thought we'd do things a little bit differently. So I'm self-guiding and Steve's come to pack out and work his magic with his knife. So it's a bit exciting this time because we're not entirely sure how it's all going to work. We're pretty experienced hunters, fair to say?
We are pretty experienced as the average hunter goes, yeah, but this is a completely different ball game for us out here now.
It is. So we've put everything together ourselves. We booked our own licenses, our own bush pilot. Hopefully we're going to get dropped off in a pretty good spot. We brought all of our own equipment and fingers crossed we've not forgotten anything.
Well, if we have now, it's too late, brother.
It is a bit too late, we're out here. So we're about 110 miles north of Anchorage, Unit 19C, and Cole's just dropped us off on this airstrip. He's going to go and pick up the Piper Super Cub, pick up the rest of the gear and then take us into camp. So extremely exciting.
Very exciting. We're going further up north first of all, aren't we, after caribou?
I hope so.
And then when we've completed that, we're coming back down for a moose, hopefully.
Yeah, well, it could be that we're actually camping in the same spot. The thing is, you're never really sure where the animals are going to be here. But first of all, we're going to go for caribou, see if we can get that animal down, and then move on to moose thereafter. And you never know, we might even get the chance of a cheeky black bear. So yeah, really exciting. The weather's turned beautifully for us. It has been a bit rainy, so it's nice to have some sunshine and some calm conditions to set up camp. Nobody likes building tents in the rain. So we're just going to go head over, have a look at the gear that we've got, make sure everything's in place, and then wait for our pilot.
An entire year's meticulous planning and preparation has finally led us to the start of our epic journey. Every item of equipment has been carefully chosen for its specific purpose and to keep our equipment weight to the bare minimum. There's simply no space for superfluous equipment. Our bush pilot is Cole Hawkins of Hawkins, Alaska. For the heavy loads out of town, he flies a Maul M5, but switches to the Piper Super Cub to get us deep into caribou country. The Super Cub has an incredibly short takeoff and landing, but has limitations to its overall load capacity. Every ounce is critical.
So here we are, finally in the big country. It's been a year in the planning and probably about 6 months worth of really hard graft to get everything together, and we're finally out in the tundra. Now this is a spectacular valley, really high on both sides. There's probably going to be sheep at the top, caribou a little bit halfway down, and then in this dense willow down here, perfect habitat for moose. Pretty encouraging so far. The weather's been amazing, beautiful flight in, nice and relaxed. Just waiting for the other 2 guys to come out now. Steve is still back at the airstrip. Cole's going to pick him up. We've got the first 2 loads of gear here, then Mark's going to follow us in. What we're going to do is get camp set up this afternoon. There's plenty of water. There's a river running over on my left-hand side here, and there's a little brook that's running down here on the right. So hopefully the light will still be with us. It's early in the afternoon now. Get a bit of food, and then hopefully we can start to scan these mountains either side of us. But really great to be here, spectacular scenery, and just need the wild man, really.
And as if by magic, the wild man arrives. Steve and I have hunted together for many years, and we trust each other implicitly. Not only is he knowledgeable and experienced, but I can rely on him to share the load when things get tough. And they will get tough. We make a great team, and I can't think of anyone else I'd rather be facing this challenge with. First job is to set up camp and build our shelters. We choose a flat spot close to water and set about clearing the shrubs ready to pitch the tents. These Hilleberg Altais are the same model we used last year, offering a good level of protection against the elements and sufficient floor space to accommodate the 3 of us. However, there's a knack to getting them up straight, which requires a little trial and error. Once the sleep tent is up, we move on to the cook tent, which flies up in no time.
Okay, here we are. We've made it into camp. The weather is absolutely glorious, pretty much how it was last year when we came. And you can see we've set up camp right next to this creek bed, so we've got no issues with fetching water. We've set up, so I'm just going to show you around the camp now. The first tent here, this is our sleeping quarters for the trip, so come and have a look in here. As you can see, we've got cots in here, which are the raised beds. Because we're spending such a long time in the field, up to 2 weeks, we could be out here. So it's better than sleeping on the floor, gets you off the ground, and it gives us more storage space. As you can see, we've all got our duffel bags, and that's got all our clothes in there, which keeps them nice and contained, can zip them up, keeps the ground squirrels out of it and everything else that like to get in there. And we've got thermarest pad under there just to keep the cold out, and good quality sleeping bags. This is where we're living, this is all our stuff in here, keep everything straight and we won't go wrong. water here, the streams are extremely clean. They've just filtered themselves down off those mountains there. But you have to filtrate it basically. We've got a water pump here, which we use to fill in the water bottles, dump that in the stream, and it filters all the water so it's nice and clean. We've also got a filtration bag, which holds quite a lot on there. And as the water's coming out, it filters the water through the pipe, and you just put that straight into the drinking vessels, and you don't need to boil it. It's all safe to drink. And we've got it set up on my sticks, so it's all very good. And as we go through, this is the cook tent in here. Okay, this is where we've got a jet boil. So we've got a sumo jet boil there, which we can use. It boils the water very quick just for coffees. This is the big main cooking stove, which is also jet boil. Very compact, very light, brilliant for bringing out into the field. And it's so economical on the gas, so you don't have to bring much gas with you. It cooks really, really well. We've got a heavy-duty plastic box here. We keep in all the coffee and a little bit of the dry food that we're going to use through the day, so we're not opening the dry bags, which I'll show you in a second, and a few chairs just to keep comfy. And like I say, we don't sit in the tent where we're sleeping. Mine and Ian's packs are here ready to go in the morning when we go out, because we can't hunt today, although the weather's absolutely glorious, so you have to wait until the following day when you fly in. So yeah, this is the cook tent. This is where we're going to spend most of the time, telling tall stories and having a giggle basically. I'll just show you where we're keeping the food, keeping it cold in the stream, and basically that's about us. Here are the two dry bags. We've got freeze-dried food in here, some ramen as the coffee, and things that don't have to be kept cold, mainly all the dry goods. In that one, which is in the creek, is some wet food that we've taken. Pre-cooked sausage, a bit of pre-cooked chicken, things that has to be kept cool, but it's a relief really to get something that you haven't got to boil water with it. But we've dropped it in there. As you can see where the water's come, straight off them snow-capped mountains, and it's running down here, so it's really cold, and it'll keep it for days in there. So that's what it's sat in the water for, keeping it nice and cool. So basically that is pretty much camp set up. We've got a waiting game till tomorrow now before we can start hunting, and we're going to go and have a glass. I think I better get my boots on and catch up with the boys.
With camp finally set up, we head out onto the ridge and take our first look at the terrain we'll be hunting. The beautiful afternoon sunshine belies the very hostile nature of this environment. Here we must keep our wits about us and prepare for the worst that Mother Nature can throw at us. Here, complacency kills. It's a surreal experience to finally be here, and our focus is now very much on the challenge ahead.
So here we are, coming towards the end of day one. It's been pretty busy, but I think we've got everything done. Camp is now set up, we've got all the water that we need, we've got the food in the right place, we've got all the cots sorted. It feels like we're at home, but it's been a pretty tough day. But I have to say, it's great being back. You know, this landscape here is just absolutely magnificent. It's been a bit of an emotional roller coaster for the past 12 months getting this ready. Not entirely sure if you've got all the gear. Make sure you get your licenses and your tags and your harvest tickets, making sure that Cole has got his deposits and then gets paid. You know, everybody needs to do their part to make this happen. It's actually quite an emotional experience being here. We had an amazing trip last year with Revelation Mountain Outfitters. We harvested 7 of the 8 animals that we were going for, so it was a pretty busy trip. Now I'm only looking for 2 main animals this time, a caribou and a moose, and maybe have the chance of a black bear. So it may be a little bit more relaxed, but it's still no less daunting. You know, this is big country out here. This is pretty wild. So you've got to pay it the right amount of respect. You've got to do your preparation. You've got to make sure you're in shape and you've got the right equipment. It's great being here. Look around us. Magnificent scenery, amazing weather. You know, it couldn't get any better. They've had 24 days solid rain, and then when we come out, we get bright sunshine. Of course, it's not going to stay this way. If you don't like the weather in Alaska, you know, wait half an hour, it will change, but it's been really kind to us today. So we're going to do a bit more glassing this afternoon, of course. When you fly into camp on the first day, you can't hunt, but we can get the measure of the place. We can look at the topography, try and find the right places to go and glass from, and try and get a good feel for the area. So we're pretty wide open here, lots of big mountain slopes. We've got a great vantage point from camp. So we're not actually going to need to do too much walking to be able to see the animals crossing. But that's all for tomorrow. So what we're going to do now, head back to camp, get the guys all fed up, get into bed, and then hopefully have a full day at it tomorrow. But yeah, it's been an amazing first day.